Hundreds of people in that province are being forced to evacuate their First Nations communities after last week's brutal snowstorm.
Those power lines, they were snapped in half. Some were like just sticking out of the ground.
We rode it out for about 2 days and we were cold. After that snowstorm, it does not look like a reserve anymore. It just looked like it got demolished.
Now, many of those people are now staying at hotels and emergency shelters in Winnipeg. 16 First Nations are under evacuation after the storm knocked out power lines days ago. Some of those communities are also declaring states of emergency because of the outages. And Natalie Nanowski is following this story for us. So, Natalie, is there any update on when the power might be back on?
You know what we're hearing right now from Manitoba Hydro is that it could take more than a week to get everyone back up on the grid, and that's because a lot of the infrastructure was damaged. I just want to show you some drone footage that we received earlier today, and it shows some of the hydro poles and how they're just completely bent over from all of the weight of the snow. There you have it. It's right up there from all the weight of the snow, and the ice completely tipped those lines over. So Manitoba Hydro had to declare a state of emergency in order to get a lot of this up and running again. And that state of emergency allows them to request the help of other crews in Saskatchewan or in Ontario. We spoke to the mayor of one of the cities that was the hardest hit, Portage-La Prairie. He told us that that city has been without power since Friday. Now about 30% of the homes have power, so it's a little bit better. And he says a lot of the things you don't expect a lot of the problems and issues that kind of come up, you don't expect. So we know that, for instance, if you don't have power, you might not be able to heat your home or cook, for instance. But one of the things that he didn't expect was that the sewage system was going to back up. Have a listen.
We've been dealing with kind of an evolving crisis. Having no electricity has impacted a lot of things, including our infrastructure. So our folks, besides being in the dark for the most part and being cold, we have water. Our water utility continues to operate. However, with wastewater, most of our lift stations, all of them are operated by electricity. So we've had to really reduce the use of water into the system, of course.
So crews in the province are working 16-hour days to get everyone back up on the grid.
And Natalie, what about the ongoing evacuations? What's the latest on that?
Well, you mentioned some of that in the intro, and we know that there are 16 First Nation communities that are under evacuation orders. So we know that many of those reserves have been destroyed. The Red Cross tells us that it set up shelter for about 1,000 people at the RBC Convention Centre, and that it's going to be opening up another shelter for about 500 people. Also in the intro, you saw some of the people just really talk about the destruction that this 2-day storm caused. Some leaders are telling us that there are more power lines that are down than there are those left standing. So it is a state of emergency in those places for sure. And even though the city of Winnipeg has taken in a lot of people and its doors are still open, it does have power, but we know that it is costing the city tens of millions of dollars to clean that mess up.
All right, thanks for the latest on this, Natalie.